Nerderotic.com.
Welcome back to the Nerdrotic channel. My name is Gary Beekler, and I come to you from Nerdrotic.com. And man, there's been a lot of Doctor Who news lately, so I'm going to have to combine a couple things into one video. But this one caught my eye this morning, and it's concerning the ratings here in the States. Jodie Whittaker's first Doctor Who holiday special drops 29% in ratings from Peter Capaldi's last. Enough time has passed. These are confirmed US ratings, and you might have thought to yourself, hey, didn't I hear this before? Yes, that's almost the same percentage drop as it was in the UK. BBC had a somewhat less than happy New Year when the ratings for the Doctor Who holiday special, which aired on New Year's Day versus the annual installment's traditional Christmas Day slot, fell 29% in the key adult 18 to 49 demographic against season 10's comparable standalone episode. The January 1st, 2019 special titled Resolution, which is the first to be led by Jodie Whittaker, the long-running series' first female doctor, everybody take a drink, scoring an average of 1.4 million total viewers, 552,000 in the advertising coveted 18 to 49 range, and 666,000, whoa boy, mark of the beast right there, among the 25 to 54 crowd, according to live plus 3-day data from Nielsen. Meanwhile, Twice Upon a Time, the previous Doctor Who holiday special and the last Christmas special ever to air from Doctor Who, which aired on Christmas Day 2017 and featured 12th Doctor Peter Capaldi's exit and Whittaker regenerating into the new Time Lord at the very end of the episode, landed an average of 1.7 million total viewers, 778,000 in the key demo and 864,000 among adults 25 to 54 when counting 3 days worth of delayed viewing. Now in the UK, they count 7 days out. That's where we get those insane consolidated numbers, which I call into question, but I question everything. That puts Whittaker's special down 29% in the key demo, 19% in total viewers, and 23% in the 25 to 54 group compared to Capaldi's last standalone. However, Resolution is basically flat with season 11 as a whole, which averaged 1.4 million total viewers, 603,000 in adults, 18 to 49, and 670,000 among the 25 to 54 demo in the live plus 3 numbers. And Whittaker's special, why are we starting sentences with and? Stop that. And Whittaker's special was up 19% in total viewers and 23% in the key 18 to 49 demo compared to the show's season finale in December. And here's a big aside. I'm not sure about the wording of this, but I think they were trying to tell us the truth. It was also the #1 most social justice program. Oh, it says social program. I'm not sure. You mean shared on social media program on New Year's Day, excluding sports? Wasn't it also the only thing on New Year's Day, excluding sports? Maybe, I don't know. According to Nielsen Social, Whittaker's entrance has revitalized Doctor Who as a whole with a surge in ratings for Series 11. I'm confused. Didn't we just say we're down 29%? Access journalism to the rescue. The show's most recent run, which wrapped on December 9th, averaged 1.6 million viewers per episode, up 20% from the 1.3 in season 10, which was delayed, aired on a Saturday evening in spring and summer. Brought in Capaldi's final year when counting a year's worth of delayed viewing data from Nielsen. In the next paragraph, they just recap the Resolution episode to fulfill their minimum word count for this article. So, comparison to the Capaldi ratings aside, a 29% drop in the US ratings is almost exactly the same percentage of the drop in the UK ratings for specials. That's what I have said in the past. The percentages between the United States and the United Kingdom remain the same. That's why I call BS when I see huge differences in those percentages, like what we saw with the series opener. Production will begin on Season 12 of Doctor Who in spring of 2019. However, the series won't be ready to broadcast until early 2020 because, according to the BBC, uniquely complex filming requirements and a lengthy post-production period. Well, you know, there's a saying in Hollywood when I used to work down there and before and after, we'll fix it in post. You cannot fix acting and writing in post, no matter how hard you try. You got to give Jennifer Moss of The Wrap a little bit of credit there. She almost made it through an entire article without any spin. And of course, the spin that she brought in was the US data of 1.6 million average viewers, which we know if you take away the first 2 episodes, it was actually 1.2, 1.3, which was equal to Capaldi. And those were numbers that people were afraid the show was going to get canceled. So to me, anyway, this confirms the show was a failure. Yes, a failure. And you're going to hear all kinds of spin in the next year. And here's the latest one. This is from Bleeding Cool. And at this point, I would highly recommend that you go to Bleeding Fool. It's a much better website. Doctor Who Series 12, the real big bad responsible for 2020 delay. There's one reason the show has been delayed till 2020, money. Well, I thought it was a long post-production process. Well, let's see. While money is often the reason a show gets pushed back, the BBC works differently from commercial TV networks because it has to schedule and allocate the money that goes to its shows before you can go into production. Because here in the Wild West states, private corporations never plan anything ahead and they don't allocate money or budget anything or get investors. We just hand cameras to directors and they go find the actors and we pay them later. Money is the reason Series 11 only had 10 episodes and the special instead of 12 episodes like the past series. So they didn't feel like they needed to put enough money and invest into Jodie Whittaker, the first female doctor, take a drink, that everybody was behind and it was going to be so successful. Interesting. Money is always tight at the BBC, which you might not notice from the expensive looking show they put out every year. I noticed. But that's how far they stretch the budget to make sure the show looks prestigious. This next paragraph is rich. The BBC has had a funding crisis for years now because the Tory government has refused to raise the license fee to keep up with inflation and the rising costs of production. This is because the right-wing government in the UK has always believed the BBC to be a hotbed of biased, leftist viewpoints that never give them a fair shake. That's debatable. Really? Okay. Given the way the BBC News usually takes the establishment view, but every politician, left or right, always complains that the reporters are biased against them. I don't think they were just talking about the BBC News, but that's me. They might have been talking directly about Doctor Who because Doctor Who was very neutral this year. Then they go on to talk about how the BBC is perpetually underfunded and they've had to go to Australia, America, and Canada to get people to co-fund their shows, and even Netflix and Amazon. Yes, Doctor Who is one of BBC's most popular shows. It boasts a global audience of 90 million viewers and makes the BBC over 100 million in merchandising, licensing, and foreign sales every year. But that money does not automatically go back to the budget for Doctor Who. Well, no wonder why the BBC is stretched thin. Well, they got rid of Jeremy Clarkson in Top Gear, and they have the first female doctor, and they didn't think it would turn out like this. Now that 90 million worldwide viewers and 100 million in merchandising, you notice there wasn't any links to that to back up those numbers. Thank you to my co-host Susan for pointing that out in our last live stream. Well, the reason is they were referring to one of their older articles, and that data, I believe, is from 2012, if not older. Now, as somebody who used to sell Doctor Who merchandise, it's actually been dipping for quite some time, so it's nowhere near that number, my belief anyway. And I think anybody with a pair of eyes and a brain can see that the interest in Doctor Who, especially in the merchandising, has gone down. Just look at the toys, look at the action figures. They don't produce that much anymore. I did a video on that older article. It was concerning the US rating spin. I'll link it in the description. Bleeding Cool talks about how the money goes into a big pot to refund the other shows, and the big difference between the American corporations is it's a not-for-profit company. Well, just because it says it's a not-for-profit company doesn't mean it doesn't profit. Up until recently, the NFL was a not-for-profit company. San Diego Comic-Con is still a not-for-profit company. It doesn't mean there isn't gobs of money still floating around. So I find it hard to believe that the BBC doesn't have enough money for Doctor Who. So let me get this straight. Doctor Who makes probably most of the money for the BBC, and then it has to spread it around to all the other shows. And when it's time for the BBC to pay out Doctor Who for its budgeting, it doesn't have any money. That sounds like an analogy for something. I can't quite think of it though. It's on the tip of my tongue. And I'm sure Amazon and Netflix are working with the BBC for charity. Now, we have gone beyond spin and we are well into spun territory. There have been so many excuses just in the last 3 or 4 days. I thought they would space it out over a year, to be honest with you. I've got another video to make, but that is later. We're not going to talk about that one right now. We're going to talk about the resources that the BBC and big media corporations have to counteract any criticism they might get from YouTubers or the tabloids. Like awards. Now, of course, this is speculation on my part, but would you really put it beyond a company that really needs a show to succeed and needs some good press to maybe grease some palms to give it an award? I'm just saying, keep an open mind. It's a possibility. Doctor Who and Jodie Whittaker nominated for National Television Awards. And yes, Doctor Who has been nominated in the past. I can't see Doctor Who Series 11 or Jodie Whittaker winning any kind of awards unless, of course, there's a category for best usage of contorted facial expressions in a formerly great sci-fi fantasy drama. Season 11 of Doctor Who seriously split the fandom, but the show itself and its lead actress Jodie Whittaker have nonetheless found themselves on the short list of nominations for this year's National Television Awards, a British awards ceremony voted on entirely by the UK public. UK public, I will get back to you. Doctor Who's naturally up for Best Drama Gong, facing stiff competition from the best of British TV, specifically Every Other Show. Military drama, Our Girl. Heartwarming period piece, Call the Midwife. Medical soap opera, Casualty. And transatlantic hit, Peaky Blinders. That's a good show, by the way. The 13th Doctor herself is up for Best Drama Performance, which is open to both actors and actresses. The rest of the nominations are filled by Our Girl's Michelle Keegan, Peaky Blinders' Cillian Murphy, or is it Cillian Murphy? I don't know. And Bodyguard star Richard Madden. So this is where I will ask something of my UK subscribers, which we have so many. Thank you for joining up. We love the UK. I am an Anglophile. Please vote for anybody else except for Jodie Whittaker. Vote for Michelle Keegan. Vote for Cillian or Cillian Murphy. Vote for Richard Madden. Richard Madden died in the Red Wedding. He died for our sins in Game of Thrones. So maybe you should go for him. Plus, Mrs. Nerdrotic really likes him. But honestly, I would vote for Cillian or Cillian Murphy as soon as I figure out how to pronounce his name. We are going to wrap things up with the Bleeding Cool article. After 1989, fans have waited 16 years for the show to come back, so 1 year isn't going to hurt. Do you remember why we had to wait 16 years for the show to come back? If it was a lesser known show or a new show, being away for a year would seriously hurt its momentum. Audiences forget it existed and move on. They certainly do. Not the case with Doctor Who. It has a rabid fan base eagerly waiting for the next episode. For Doctor Who, absence really does make the heart grow fonder. Remember in a previous video I talked about goodwill. Doctor Who used up all of its goodwill with its fan base in Series 11, with its preachy tone, political correctness, and boring episodes. These were completely forgettable episodes. Mark my words, when the show comes back, the ratings won't even be half of what they are now, and they were down. The interest was waning already. It's already gone. Of course, they failed to mention we had to wait a year before Series 11 and a year before Series 10. And then the excuses keep rolling out. So the delay is now due to either a very long post-production process or money. It just sounds to me like nobody's really interested in making this show. Like they're doing it out of obligation to their agenda. They're really not that into the show, and it does show with the writing. Maybe they're just waiting for the right time to have the perfect excuse not to do Series 12. It might have been foreshadowing the way they got rid of Unit in Resolution, because they can always blame it on Brexit. Hey, if you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like what you heard, well, I've got some bad news for you. There's some more Doctor Who videos coming, but thanks for listening this long. Please go to nerdrotic.com for our live schedule, just to tease my next 2 Doctor Who videos. We have a Rotten Tomatoes video coming out in the next couple days, plus the latest excuse from Access Journalism. They're good for that. More videos on the way, and I hope to see you in a live stream. I also have a Twitter at Nerdrotics. I want you all to have a wonderful day. May the small folks sing songs of your greatness.
nerderotic.com. Please subscribe.